This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, April the 2nd, is a soccer icon. Now, of course, I try to do living players for Sports Catastrophe's birthdays because, I want to do that. But I couldn't find anyone who was alive on April 2nd that I haven't done. So I decided to go with this guy. This guy is a legend in soccer in the 1950s, and his country, Hungary, actually were a world power in soccer once upon a time in the 50s. He was the first international superstar, if you will, putting up 84 goals in 85 matches for Hungary. I think that's still a record for the Hungarians. He even played internationally for Spain. But anyway, he was an Olympic champion, helped the Hungary get to the 1954 World Cup final, the Galloping Major, as they call him. He was part of 3 Euro Cup championships, or Champions League is now known as. He was one of the best around. His name is Frederick Puskas. Puskas was born to a German family in Budapest, Hungary. His mother was a seamstress. His father was a coach for a junior team. Well, the last name was Putzeld, Purczeld, but his father changed it to Puskas and all that. Puskas would play for Budapest Honvéd and helped them win 5 straight Hungarian league titles. He was the top goal scorer in Europe in 1948 with 50 goals. So, anyway, Puskas was a great Hungarian player and all that. At the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, he helped Hungary win the tournament. They would face Romania, Italy, Turkey, Sweden, and Yugoslavia, beating them all, conceding only twice. He put up 2 goals against Turkey in the quarters, 1 against Sweden in the semis, and 1 goal against Yugoslavia in the finals. So anyway, he looked pretty dominant and all that. He made his debut for the Hungarian national team in 1945 against Austria. He had done pretty well for himself. Together with Sultan Sisubor, Sander Kosic, Josip Bosic, and Nandor Hedegudi, he formed the nucleus of the Golden Team, which was a Hungarian national team that went undefeated for 32 straight games. During this run, they were Olympic champs in 1952 and beat England twice, shocking them at Wembley 6-3 before on home turf crushing them even worse 7-1. Puskas would score 4 goals against England in those 2 games and all that. It was what he had to do. Puskas was pretty good. In the 2 first-round games against Korea and West Germany, Puskas put up 3 goals. Unfortunately, though, he would suffer a hairline fracture of the ankle after a bad tackle by one of the West Germans. So he wasn't around for the quarters or semis. Despite Puskas' absence because of the injury, Hungary did get to the final. Puskas would play the entire World Cup final with that hairline fracture. Despite all that, he did score the first goal of the game for Hungary in the 6th minute against West Germany in the final. And then Sisubor would score the second goal to make it 2-0. And it looked like Hungary was going to be the world champions. After all, they were pretty much fantastic. And let's not forget that, they had taken out England. Despite all that, the West Germans scored twice before halftime and then, with 6 minutes left, scored a famous goal. Puskas actually had scored seemingly a late equalizer. Sadly, though, it was because of not allowed due to offside. So in the 54 World Cup, Hungary took on Korea, crushed them 9-0, crushed West Germany 8-3. And then in the quarters against Brazil, they beat them 4-2, beat Uruguay, who finally suffered a World Cup loss, 4-2, and then lost to West Germany. So anyway, there was a thing. Budapest Honvéd were in the European Cup / Champions League in 1956 was drawn against Atletico Bilbao. Honvéd lost the first game, and before they could play Bilbao on home turf, the Hungarian Revolution erupted in Budapest and was repressed by the Soviets. They decided to go against going back to communist Hungary and wanted to play the game against Bilbao at Heysel in Belgium. It was a 3-3 tie, but Honvéd lost. So anyway, Puskas would not go back to Hungary for any reason until 1981. So after refusing to return to Hungary, Puskas played a few unofficial games for Espanyol. But UEFA gave him a 2-year ban for refusing to return to Budapest, which prevented him from playing in Europe. So he took a 2-year ban and didn't know anything. The rumors were circulating that Manchester United, after the events of the Munich air disaster in 1958, were thinking of taking Puskas, but FA rules, like the English governing body of soccer, said foreigners didn't really work, and Puskas not knowing the English language. Standing manager Jimmy Murphy could not sign the Hungarian. Puskas would go to Spain and join Real Madrid. In his first Spanish league season, he scored 4 hat-tricks. He was paired up with Alfredo Di Stefano, a pretty good Spanish player in his own right. And it worked well for him. He scored 20 or more goals in each of his first 6 seasons in the Spanish league and was named top scorer 4 times. He helped Real win La Liga, the league, 5 times in a row between 1961 and 1965. He would play 39 times in the Champions League, the European Cup / Champions League, scoring 35 goals, getting them to the final of the 59 World Cup, European Cup. Unfortunately, injuries would hurt him, and he was not around for when Real won their 4th straight title. He looked kind of good, but in the final against Eintracht Frankfurt in 1960, it was the Puskas and Di Stefano show, as Real would win 7-3, with Puskas scoring 4, Di Stefano scoring the other 3. He would do quite well. He actually helped Real Madrid win the 1966 European Cup against Partizan Belgrade, but Puskas could not play with injury. In 1962, he would become a naturalized Spanish citizen and played for Spain for 3 games in the 1962 World Cup. I know there are rules stating that if you play a World Cup game for one country, you can't play for another, but I think based off of the Hungarian Revolution, they gave him an exception. So anyway, Puskas would become a coach and manage teams in all continents minus Antarctica, of course. He actually was coach for Panathinaikos in 1971, then when they got to the European Cup final, losing to Ajax, if memory serves me right. And it was the only time in history that a Greek team has been to the final, the European final. They beat Everton, they beat Red Star Belgrade, and then they lost to Ajax. He spent 4 years with Panathinaikos, took over Real Marseille, then went to Colo Colo, and then helped South Melbourne win the Australian Soccer League title in 1991. Anyway, it would be huge and all of that. He actually took charge of the Hungarian national team for 4 games in 1993. He had great style of play and could have one of the best powerful shots in all the world. He has a massive legacy. A stadium in Budapest was renamed in 2002 in honor of him. An asteroid was named in his honor. He has an award called the FIFA Puskas Award for Goal of the Year. And there's even a statue of him in Melbourne, where he helped South Melbourne win the 91 Australian Open championship. Anyway, Puskas was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2000. He went to hospital in September 2006, but didn't make it out as he died November 17, 2006, at age 79, survived by his wife and daughter. He was given a state funeral for his powerful stuff and all that. Anyway, for Budapest, Hungary, and Real Madrid, he scored 624 club goals in 629 games among all competitions. So he did quite well, scoring 83 goals for Hungary in their history. As a manager, he went to Hercules in Spain, Eleves in Spain, Panathinaikos in Greece, where he had the success of getting to the European Cup final in 1971, Real Murcia in Spain, Colo-Colo, Chile, AK in Greece, and then the Hungarian national team being only 1-3. Helping Real Madrid win La Liga 5 straight years from 1961 to 1965, 3 European Cup / Champions League, 59, 60, 66. And helping Hungary win the Summer Olympics in 1952 and being runner-up in the World Cup in 1954. A little bit too much there, but anyway, you can't deny that Puskas was a big soccer player. Not really in a country that's known for their soccer nowadays, but they're trying. And, dude went over to Spain and helped Spain out and helped Real Madrid become a powerhouse. So you can't beat that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.